Today we're going to theorize how they could possibly bring Captain Britain into Marvel Puzzle Quest. Hey everybody, welcome back to MPQ Mastery, where we help you destroy more gems. Today is more of a think piece theory thing that I like to do from time to time, where I like to think about how they could bring in different characters into the game. Funny enough, they just brought Sabretooth into the game, and I predicted that one, I think 6 months ago. So maybe somebody is actually watching my videos. That's kind of interesting. I also just want to throw a quick shout out there to all of my current subscribers, because we just crossed 500 subscribers this past weekend. Thank you all so much for that. It's actually a huge accomplishment to get to 500, and I want to see how long it takes for us to get to 1,000. And of course, that only happens if you like these videos, subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications bell so you always know when we put out a new video. But most of all, share the videos around. Share them on forums, share them in Facebook groups, share them wherever you can. Share them with anybody you know who plays the game so that we can all learn to become masters together. All right, so let's get into it. Captain Britain. He is the one that we're talking about this time. Now, not everybody even really knows Captain Britain, and yet he's played a major part in a lot of the big storylines that have gone on in the Marvel Universe. I was first introduced to him in Excalibur, where he was there with Nightcrawler and Phoenix and all those really cool characters. Of course, back at that time, they were doing time traveling, and his powers were so linked to him being in Britain that if he left Britain, he would end up becoming weaker. So I should probably backtrack just a bit. Captain Britain's real name is Brian Braddock. He actually did have his own comic for a while there, and then basically he started getting incorporated into a lot of other people's stories, and most of all, Excalibur. I almost feel like he was Marvel's response to Shazam, because instead of like a weird wizard who gives him the power of the Greek gods, he instead is gifted by Merlin, and he's even wielded Excalibur. I mean, he's a really, really cool character. So in terms of powers, pretty much he's taken to peak human and goes slightly beyond that in most categories, except that it has been noted that he can lift 90 tons, which is a lot. It's not as strong as some people, but it's still a lot. And obviously, he can fly, which is really cool. And the reason he's got his powers is because he himself is a conduit for all of the mystical powers in Britain. And it used to be that if he left Britain, he would lose his abilities, but they fixed that. Now they are centered within him, and he can carry those powers around with him wherever he goes. But I do want to just note one additional thing, is that he's also a genius. He's a scientist, he does like everything. He's one of those characters that just can pretty much do it all. Because in addition, he's an acrobat and an expert fighter, has wielded Excalibur, as I said earlier, and of course he was nigh unstoppable when he had that. His weakness, though, is very similar to Green Lantern, because if he is not confident, then he loses abilities. So that definitely plays a part in how I designed Captain Britain for Marvel Puzzle Quest. So let's talk about that. The way I've designed him is that he would be a blue, red, green. And I thought that the blue and the red would be cool to reflect his costume, whereas the green is more because he is the protector of the Isles and whatnot, so it kind of reflects his connection to the land. I thought those colors fit nicely. So I'm actually going to start from the bottom this time. His Unyielding Confidence is his first power that I think kind of ties into the rest of them, and it's a passive ability. And it says Braddock's powers come from his confidence he wields like a weapon. At the start of each turn, if he has less than 10 green AP, he converts 3 black tiles to green tiles. So that's the first thing, is that he starts converting black to green, which I think is pretty cool because then it fuels his power. The second part of that is if his team has 10 or more green AP, then Captain Britain gets a damage bonus whenever he makes a match. His allies get a slightly less of a damage bonus, but essentially he's focusing in the power of the land to make him that much more powerful, him and his team. Then let's jump to the first one, Strongest Among Us, because this is where he actually is very much a protecting kind of character. So, Captain Britain is ever vigilant for his team. He places a 3-turn blue counter tile on the board. If he is at the lead and would take damage, reduce the countdown by 1 instead. If he is not at the lead, he immediately shifts to the lead, halves the damage, and then reduces the countdown by 1. But also, every time the countdown reduces by 1, you lose 2 green AP. So there is a give and take there. So it's similar to Colossus's yellow ability, but instead this one actually, if he's at the lead, allows him to just ignore some damage, not all damage, because it does have a countdown, so it will eventually go away. Passively, what it will also do is increase a friendly counter by 1 each time your team makes a green match. So you see here that the stronger his confidence is and his connection to the land with his unyielding confidence there, the stronger he will be to take the hits from Strongest Among Us. So I think that that's a pretty cool kind of balance there. And then of course every character needs to have some sort of attack ability. So far these two have been protective and kind of board manipulation, but then I give him his 90-ton punch. Captain Britain summons his strength and delivers a punch that sends shockwaves. Because again, remember that he is a conduit for mystical power. So his punch will do more than just deal damage. So it deals a lot of damage, high damage to the target. Then it creates 3 attack tiles, and that's from the shockwave, the ripple effect of the punch. Then it converts 2 enemy strike, attack, or protect tiles to friendly, crippling your enemy and using it as an advantage against them, which is pretty awesome. And if the team holds 10 or more green AP, it also creates 2 strike tiles and converts up to 2 more enemy attack, protect, or attack tiles to friendly. So essentially the Unyielding Confidence is the clincher here. As long as that's in full effect, then Captain Britain will be able to soak damage and deal the damage pretty nicely. So what do you guys think of my write-up here for Captain Britain? Does it work for you? Do you think it's maybe a little OP? I was kind of thinking that with the Strongest Among Us power, but I'm actually really interested in what you guys think of what it would be like if this design was in the game. Obviously, you could take it as either good or bad against Dakin, because every green match would give Dakin some strike tiles, but at the same time, his 90-ton punch would turn those attack tiles to his advantage and turn them to be friendly. So there is kind of that give and take against certain enemies. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments and we'll continue the discussion. Otherwise, again, thank you so much for helping us hit 500 subscribers. Don't forget to share the videos, hit like, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification. And until next time, thank you for coming to MPQ Mastery. Go destroy some gems.